Got a mug with my mug on it right there.
Yep. Hey, everyone. This is Ron Couming coming to you live with the Success Secrets Revealed show. Today, we are blessed to have with you, and this time he's actually with us. Earlier, we couldn't hear his mic, but now everything has worked itself out, is Dr. Steve Taubman. He is a best-selling author and world-class speaker who has dedicated his life to showing people how to thrive through their challenges. He's written extensively on the application of contemplative practices in stressful situations and has spoken worldwide on mindset mastery for goal orientated and helping professionals. Having endured crippling anxiety and self-esteem early in life, Dr. Taubman made it his mission to understand the nature of happiness and the remedies for emotional turmoil. His search has led him to neurological, holistic health, mindfulness, positive psychology, and hypnosis, each for having a balanced life free of neurosis and rich in accomplishments. He's also a great author, and we're going to talk about his books. Rich, first, I'd like to tell you all that just so you know, this show is sponsored by RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. At the end of the day, you can be the best in your business. You can have the best products, services, websites, copy, all that. If people can't find you, they can't consider you, they can't hire you. So with that said, let's welcome Dr. Steve Taubman here today with us.
Hey.
Thank you. That kind of felt pressured because we tried, we went out, we went to Zoom, we couldn't hear you on Zoom either. So now we said, wait a minute, there has to be something if it's two systems that we're unable to hear you. Right. So we figured it out, and thankfully we are now here. So Steve, talk to us. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. I mean, your bio was very impressive, but there was more to it than what I had been reading. So,
well, yeah. So first of all, what I do for a living, what I do to help people, is essentially to be able to laugh through situations like the one we just had. So, sometimes we have these unexpected roadblocks that we hit, or crises in our lives, and our tendency is to fall into a state of panic or insecurity or fear or anger or whatever. And I've noticed in my own life that as long as I didn't have a really good control over my own emotional state, then small things have the ability to throw me off course. So I spent the last many years working on what does it take to become master of your own mind, your own emotions. How can we predictably be able to take a look at any situation we're in? Right now, we're all facing the coronavirus crisis. How do we take a situation like that, which has global consequences, and still maintain peace, happiness, joy, serenity, even a sense of humor? Because, even in the worst of situations, there's got to be some way that we could find the humor, the laughter, while we simultaneously feel compassion and caring for others, because we're not very effective helping each other if we're a puddle of tears. So that's kind of what I do. I've been writing books now for the last 15 years or so. My first book was called Unhypnosis, based on the premise that we all walk around through life kind of hypnotized, fast asleep, programmed, and so what do we need to do to wake up, to be more clear and aware of what our minds are saying to us and what they're doing to us. And my most recent book, which I think you mentioned, is Bulletproof. This just came out, interestingly and very timely, came out about a month ago. First printed copy appeared here at my house about 2 weeks ago. So I think our mutual friend, Eric Swanson, as I'm sure we'll talk about Eric, had a copy of my book before I had it. And that was interesting. In any event, this book is about mental resilience. It says, what if everything that bugged you, that blocked you, or brought you down didn't? What would your life look like? How would you be working your way through whatever your challenges were, and how would you be moving toward your success if you had mastery over your own emotions and your own thoughts and your own beliefs? So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love it. And there's so many talking points on that right now. So I'd like to chime in a little bit here. I think like you talked about, even like this little situation kind of threw us. I mean, we were here, we were ready to go 5-10 minutes early. Everything was perfect. Had our banners ready. Then we couldn't hear you. We went to Zoom. We came back here, and but that kind of like pales in comparison to some of the much larger things that are going on that can really throw people for a loop. I mean, this whole thing, I mean, we can, you know, this video is going to live on, and we're going to talk about multiple situations, but I think we have to mention, you know, the COVID situation now. And, you know, basically with all the shutdowns and the way businesses are responding about pretty much shutting down and people can't go out. I mean, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, I mean, this has really just rocked your world, you know, at least financially. I mean, you know, I have to believe that within 3 to 6 months, everything's going to be back to normal. But can you tell us how some people could navigate through, you know, this isn't just losing your best client who might be 40% of your income. This is like everything. I mean, this is, you can't even go to the store. You can't go to the movie theater. Never mind getting your business. People had events planned, airplanes. I mean, this is a traumatic, dramatic, and just, you know, huge event. So if you could give us like a couple of pointers on this, and I'm sure we're going to go on and talk about other things as well. But since you brought it up, I would love to hear your ideas into that. And it's very timely. Just so you know, too, right down below is the where people can go to get your book right now.
Yeah.
I have a couple
I'm giving away a free first chapter. If you go to bestofsteve.com, just fill out your email and we'll send you a free chapter of the book.
Excellent. I'm going to alternate that with another banner that just says who you are and who I am. So we'll be alternating that back and forth. So we have multiple people here on the live stream. Steve's giving away a free chapter of his book, which you can get right there at www.bestofsteve.com. That's a great URL too. Surprised that was available.
I know. I've gotten really lucky sometimes with URLs. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you've met people who can't even get their own name.
Exactly.
It's terrible, right? You can't get your own name.
Then we have to add in like their initial or the doctor or an MD at the end. Yeah. Funny, on a similar note, I went and I got like the best website company. I could not believe that was available. And then I got
the best website company
was available. I have that. I just have like a fuller site, you know what I mean? Just like a little site there now, but also another one that says the best website Boston. I couldn't believe that those were available, right? So, but anyhow, tell us some more about how people can navigate some of these.
Yeah, sure. So let me preface it by saying thanks to you, Ron, for making this happen. And I love your style, and I love what you've done here with this show and the way you've brought together some amazing people. So talk about taking lemons and making them into lemonade. I guess a few things I want to say about how we respond to crises and to the possibility of our business kind of tanking and suddenly being stuck, like completely grinding to a halt. And the first thing I think is that every ending is a new beginning. That's just the nature of life. I mean, when something ends, something else begins. So you could focus on the fact that it's an ending, or you could focus on the fact that it's a beginning. And if you're focusing on the fact that it's a beginning, you can then begin to align yourself with the same spirit you had when you first started your business. Remember back then, remember when, you had nothing. It was a gamble. There were a lot of factors working against you. You were working on a shoestring. You were working long hours, and you were loving every minute of it because it was a beginning. And if you have that kind of attitude toward this process, it really comes down to the willingness to change, the willingness to adapt, and the willingness to not just adapt what you're doing, but also adapt your attitude toward what you're doing. So my attitude toward what I'm doing right now is not, oh, this is hopeless. I can't believe I put all this work in and look what's come of it, nothing. And now I've got this big, bunch of debris all around me. That's a very uncomfortable way to look at a situation. A much better way to look at it is, okay, I guess it all blew up. Let's start again. Let's get back into the game, and let's see, if I still got what it takes. Do I still have the resources? Do I still have the passion? Do I still have the energy to start again, to do something new? And that's the attitude that's going to take us where we need to go, to the next level of our business, because because you have no choice, right? That is all there is. So the first thing about letting go of the crisis around us is to say, there's a tendency whenever there's a crisis for people to go, someday we're going to look back at this and laugh. And I say, why wait? Right? Just see it from the perspective of now it's already like been a year since it happened. It was as bad as it could have possibly been. You lost money. Maybe you lost some friends. Maybe, whatever it is, there were horrible things that happened. And it was very sad. And then you survived it. And then you were into this whole new thing and life was working again. And it's that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of optimism that'll move us to the next level. So I would say one of the things that we can do is adopt what I've been talking a lot about, five principles. And I'll just share them with you really quickly. The first one is called Make Your Bed, which says if you're home and you're in a situation where there's very little structure around you, create structure, right? Make your bed every morning. They say how you do anything is how you do everything. So you have a life that involves discipline and order, and you just don't let yourself fall into the habit of like letting it all blow up around you, but instead, have some structure, which is something where nobody's making you do that. You've got to make yourself do it. The second thing is paint your picture. And painting your picture means, although you can focus on all the horrible things happening right now, what the most successful people do is they dedicate a certain chunk of their day to seeing the vision of what their life will look like in the future. And it's a powerful exercise, not just because it helps us be enthusiastic, but because it gets us out of the habit of focusing only on the negative, because according to the law of attraction, you end up getting what you spend most of your time looking at or thinking about or ruminating about. And if you're only ruminating about how horrible it is now, then you're just going to get more and more of the same. So here's an opportunity to start painting a clearer picture of what you want to accomplish. Number 3 is remove your walls. What are the invisible walls, the psychological barriers that are currently influencing you? Is it depression? Is it distraction? Is it a sense of apathy? Is it a feeling of fear? What are the feelings and the emotions and the thoughts that are stopping you dead in your tracks? And the way that we process our way out of that set of barriers that keep us from moving forward is through the power of focus, the law of focus. And the law of focus says that if you can learn to bring your focus into the moment very, very narrowly, then all the things that were voices in your head that were pulling you down are now just things that you can observe rather than things that actually have any power over you. And so learn about mindfulness, learn to meditate, learn to do simple activities with complete focus and attention. Even washing your dishes, wash them as if each dish was your child, with incredible love and focus and presence, because you're developing a habit pattern of focus that will support you and serve you as you move into the next level, next epoch of your business, right? Number 4, sharpen your saw. This is the time right now. Just because you can't be doing the doing that you were doing doesn't mean that you can't be looking at how to do it better, planting the seeds, working on becoming a better person yourself, right? Because as Jim Rohn said, he said, work harder on yourself than you work on your business, right? Working on your business, you'll make a living, but working on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So what are you doing to work on yourself? Are you learning to practice gratitude? Are you learning to have control over your own emotions? Are you learning to discipline yourself more than you used to? All these things, you've got the time, you've got the capacity, rather than letting the circumstances determine how you are being. Use this as a time to develop more discipline yourself, to learn more about your craft, to learn about the tools. Like talk to a guy like Ron who knows everything there is to know about how to market a business. And how to get yourself out on social media. There are so many things that you could be doing right now that you never had time to do before, never made time to do before, that will change your business and will give you the momentum you need. So when it's time to come out of the gate, you go fast. And then number 5, does this make sense?
Yeah, I love it. And I wanted to jump in a couple of times, but I don't want to break up your rhythm.
Well, I'm on the last one, right? So the last one is what I call be the Ferrari. Right. So back when we had our recession and all the American car companies were tanking, Ferrari was still having a record year because they were distinguishing themselves and they knew their market. So again, there's a great time to distinguish yourself, to be present on social media, to create a video awareness, to give people a sense of who you are, and then to also do outreach that's not self-serving, but maybe just, you know, getting in touch with people, seeing how they're doing, making nice testimonial videos for others without them asking for them. So creating a strong, raving fan base. And if you start practicing those 5 principles, this could be a very productive time. And you look back on it as the time that you were able to really start moving to a higher level.
I love it. Every single one of them, I think, has value. But if we go back to the very first one, just to start at the beginning, I like how you were talking about, you know, don't see this at the beginning. When we started our business or we started our careers, we basically had a blank slate. And then from there, we grew it. So God forbid we're at that point where we're at a blank slate. You know what I mean? But you've done it before, so you can certainly do it again. But now you have so much more skill set, so much more connection, so many more, resources, whether it's business, personal, or, testimonial. So you have so much more going for you now that having a fatalistic mindset right now is very detrimental. And I also liked how you talked about, I think it was number 2, where, get up every day, make your bed, take a shower, get dressed like you're going to work, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Back when I used to be on the powerlifting teams, that's what they would tell us. Even when you're doing your light workouts, when you're doing your warm-ups, no matter what you're doing, always consistently do it the right way, the right form, everything, always, right? And then it just becomes a habit. It's not something that you do. It's just, it's just routine. And so I loved it. And then you talked about how people can, just take some time away and just step back. I mean, at the end of the day, we all basically got into to be a business owner and an entrepreneur. And there's other people who are going to listen to this show who are not business owners and entrepreneurs. But we all got into this because we had a passion. We had we wanted to do something. So, the 5 tips that you gave, could you just give them to us again, but just like the headline,
make your bed, make your bed is the law of impeccability. Be impeccable, right? Yep. Second one, paint your picture, which is the law of vision, right? The third one is remove your walls, and that's the law of focus, right? Number 4 is sharpen your saw, right? Sharpen your saw. Like, in other words, take the time to get better at the things that you do and to make yourself a better person, which is also, by the way, I call that the law of balance, because you don't want to be so balanced on just doing that you're not taking the time to improve, right? And then number 5 is be the Ferrari, which I call the law of distinction, being distinct, being, remarkable.
Nice. And also you talked about how people can just give back, just call somebody without trying to sell them anything. Just call them and say, hi, how are you? How you doing? All this is going on. Just wanted to check in. And then I think you gave a great idea where people could just make a testimonial video for someone without even being asked for it and just send it off,
I'll give credit to that to Eric. Eric has taught me that concept, and I think it's a brilliant concept. That we all have the capacity to give something like that to others, and those are the things that make us more remarkable to others, right? So it comes back for us, but it's also just the right thing to do. It just helps us practice gratitude and practice generosity.
Yeah, that's excellent, man. And you talk about Eric Swanson. It's funny, this week, I mean, this is my 3rd week, and I've had some amazing people, including yourself, obviously. But this week, all 5 of my interviewees were also on at one time or another. They've been on other stages as well, but they all came from Habit to Warrior conference at one time or another. They all spoke on that stage too. So it's kind of like once you get into a circle, with like-minded people, and whether they're heart-centered or the business focused or whatever the adjectives that go along with it, people pretty much, go around in the same circles. Can you tell us a little bit more about your book now? We can certainly go back and cover anything or talk about whatever you want, but I want people to see about your book again, and I'm going to put that at the bottom, how people can get, I believe you're giving away a free chapter.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, I wrote a book, and I entitled it Buddha in the Trenches. And here, this is what that book looks like, Buddha in the Trenches. And I love this book, and I happen to love the title, but unfortunately, a lot of people were, not a lot, but there are certain people who, they may be faith-based, and they may look at that as perhaps being a religious thing, because Buddhism. It's not, but I found that I don't want to have to keep re-explaining that. So what I did was I went back to the book, and I extracted all the wisdom from the book and all the principles and all the strategies that the book had to offer, and removed anything that had to do with Buddhism or the Buddha or anything like that. So I ended up recreating the book under a new title, and the new book is called Bulletproof. And Bulletproof is, again, what I just described, these 5 steps. And it goes into a lot of detail about each of these 5 steps. And then what it does is it helps you to understand how to use them. So for example, in the very first chapter, I talk about, about happiness and about starting with happiness and unconditional happiness. And then I give like 13 different principles that you can follow, and then there's a bunch of specific acts that you can do. So in the chapter about creating discipline, I've got things like create rituals, use a day planner, chunk down your goals, check off your completions, close your loops, empty your inbox. Oh, how many of you guys out there have, like, you don't respond to your emails because your inbox is so full that you don't even see when something new comes along. I made a little video that I've given to friends and family and my the people who follow me on the various social media about how to empty your inbox. And my inbox is almost always virtually empty. It's like and I'll get at least 300 emails a day, but it's empty within a few minutes. Because I know how to put things where they belong and how to operate through them very quickly. And so it creates an amazing amount of efficiency when you don't have clutter, whether it's physical clutter in your home or virtual clutter on your computer. So there's a lot of efficiency and organization and getting things done that this book will teach you how to do, and how to thrive in high pressure situations, how to deal with emotions that start getting the better of you. To return yourself to a place of peace and humor and just being okay, despite the crisis and stuff going on around you. So I find that, and honest to God, I do find that I'll pick this up and use it as almost like a reference book for myself. So if I'm feeling like I'm not sure how to deal with the situation, I'll pick it up, and it'll remind me of what's probably the best bet. And some of the people who have endorsed the book are people like our friend Sharon Lecter, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Jeff Hoffman from Priceline, of course, Eric. And the foreword to the book was written by Frank Shankwitz, the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wow, what a collection of people there that you have. Right off the bat, that just puts you. Now I want to read the book. I'll be honest, the day that you put that out there, yep. I tried both on my phone and on my laptop. I could not connect to Amazon for whatever reason. And I'm an Amazon Prime member and everything else. You are offering the entire book, I think, for 99 cents or something, right?
Yeah. By the way, now, for those of you who do want to grab the digital, the Kindle version of the book, we put it at 99 cents during a special project that we were doing, and I haven't changed it back yet.
Nice.
So, I don't know. In replay, it may be too late, but if you're watching this live or in the next, few days, it's not a high priority for me to change it back right now. So if you're interested in actually having the book for 99 cents, just go to Amazon and look for Bulletproof and use my name, Taubman, because there's a bunch of Bulletproofs. There's Bulletproof coffee and Bulletproof this and that.
I was thinking the same thing, man. I wonder if there's any, name. When I heard Bulletproof, I was wondering about that myself. I've never actually had that coffee, but people have told me it's. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be really good for you or if it's just very organic or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think they've got that whole culture of wellness. So my guess is it's probably got something else in it besides coffee.
Yeah.
But we'll let them promote their own thing. But yeah.
Hey, but they just came up in that conversation too. But I've only seen them or even heard of them out in California. I'm in the Boston area. I believe you're in Vermont.
Yeah, we're not far from each other.
Yeah. Now, tell me, what's Vermont most notably famous for? And we're not talking politics here.
Yeah, no. Besides, we're famous for mountains and skiing and Ben and Jerry's ice cream and Cabot cheddar cheese.
I would have started with the Ben and Jerry's, bro.
I know. I was just trying to be a little bit more,
because that's where I was going. I was going with
Ben and Jerry's. Awesome stuff. We've got the Ben and Jerry's factory not far from here, and the very first Ben and Jerry's was a little garage right on the corner of College Street and St. Paul Street. There's a little garage there. There's a plaque on the ground right now, and that's where they used to scoop their ice cream. And I knew those guys way back when I was a chiropractor. Jerry was a patient of mine.
Nice. So you were a chiropractor too,
Yeah.
and you've gone into the holistic side in helping people mentally and emotionally and all that. But I mean, you have a huge history that you bring to the table that people who might have holistic thoughts or books or other things, they don't have that crossover. Can you tell us a little bit about your past?
Yeah, so I started out when I was in college. I sort of suspected I was going into some kind of a medical field, but I wasn't sure what. And I took a year off from college and did some traveling. And a relative of mine is married to a chiropractor. So I ended up spending some time with him in his office and kind of shadowing him and learning a little bit about what chiropractic is all about. And I was fascinated by the holistic philosophy that it's based on, and on some of the diagnostic strategies that they were using. So he knew a lot about my health through touch and just being attentive to cues that most medical doctors weren't attentive to. So I ended up becoming a chiropractor. I went to chiropractic college and I graduated valedictorian from my class, and I came out of school and I started a practice. And it turns out, by the way, that just because you graduate valedictorian from your class doesn't mean you're going to have a great practice. Being smart and being successful are not necessarily the same thing. So I had to learn the laws of success, and that took me to conferences where I met people like Mark Victor Hansen and Brian Tracy and Dennis Waitley and all those amazing people. And now I get to speak on stages with people like that, which is awesome. So because of my background in holistic health, which is essentially the idea that our bodies are capable of miracles, right? I mean, just the fact that we even breathe, the fact that our hearts beat without us having to think about it. It's a coordinated system and it works really well. And when things aren't working really well, it typically means that there's some kind of blockage, some kind of information blockage. And so the chiropractic concept of health is remove the blockages and let nature take its course, let health arise. And so when it comes to what I do now as a both using hypnotherapy and other modalities to help people to break through the mental barriers to success, it's the same thing. I believe, and I feel that this is what I've experienced, that we all have a natural ability, a natural tendency toward success and happiness, right? And that if we're not successful and we're not happy, it's because something's blocking it. And so my focus is on what's blocking it, and let's find the blockage, let's remove the blockage, because by doing that, there'll be a flow, there'll be an energy. And so what I do in the world of success and happiness is to apply chiropractic holistic principles to the mind. It's what we call, in chiropractic, we've got what we call subluxations, which are blockages of nerve energy. A subluxation is a misaligned bone in the spine that can block nerve energy. Here we're talking about subluxations of the mind. Chiropractors say subluxation above atlas. Atlas is the first bone.
I love it, and that's so important too. Before I get off isn't it true that chiropractors actually have more hours in school than just regular doctors? And I don't mean just regular, but I mean general practitioners.
There's a lot. I mean, pretty much the same or a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. So good for you. So you really have come from a space of helping people clear blockages, both on the physical, mental, and emotional avenues. And for me as a business owner, I mean, there are a lot of different roadblocks that people will come to. So having these type of resources available to you, to me, it would be a godsend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, what happens is like people enter my world through my books or seeing me speak. And the people who work with me at the higher levels are the people who are maybe hiring me as a coach to do what I call hypno coaching. And hypno coaching is where, I sit down with somebody and I find out, what is it that they're trying to accomplish and what is it that's blocking them. And, it's never the thing they think it is. They think, oh, well, I'm being blocked by competition, or I'm being blocked by, by the circumstances of the world around me. But it's always some belief. It's always something in their heads. So we figure out what that is. And then I use hypnosis to help alleviate those blockages, to remove them. I call it unhypnosis because we're unhypnotizing you, helping you wake up to a higher order of what's possible. And then, for people in business, what ends up getting out of their way are things like fear of approaching somebody, fear of, asking for the sale, fear of the close, like all that kind of stuff. Or maybe it's just, I've gotten in the habit of just doing things half-assed because I've been doing it so long. So that's a blockage too, is like that kind of habitual pattern. So we could release that as well.
Good for you. That's definitely a good book. Now, can you tell everybody again one more time where they could get that book?
Sure. So the book itself, Bulletproof, if you want the book in its entirety, you can get it on Amazon. It's available right there. Or if you want to go ahead and get a sample, read the first chapter of the book, go to bestofsteve.com, which we were just saying earlier. I can't believe I got that website, but I did. Right. bestofsteve.com. And what you'll do is you put in your email address and we'll send you over that, a PDF of that chapter. And you'll also get my periodic wisdom tips. So some of the stuff, if you like what I talk about and the way I look at life and things I offer, I'll send you some uplifting emails from time to time.
Excellent. That's huge. Is there anything else you'd like to let people know in closing?
Yeah, I just say, guys, stay as positive as you can, not because, I'm not saying be Pollyanna about this. I mean, be rooted in reality, but at the same time, recognize that it's all impermanent. It's all going to change. And your attitude is going to have an impact on how quickly it changes. So if you find your thoughts are negative and they're getting in your way, follow my lifelong mantra, which is don't believe everything you think.
I love it. And you're right. I mean, I can't tell you, like when people come to me, there are so many things that I see. And sometimes it's like, if they just can reframe their thought process about whatever it is that they're doing or try to get done. And it's not that people are wrong. It's just that they haven't been exposed to something that can take them to the next level. So having somebody outside themselves, such as yourself as a coach, or if somebody's coming to me for business stuff, they want to get more customers or clients, having somebody who's not connected to it mentally and emotionally, and they can be objective, sometimes can be a godsend. A couple of weeks ago, I had Greg Reed on. He talks about that. A lot of people talk about it, but I hear it a lot more from him than others. It's about seek counsel, not advice. So, look for people who have been where you've been, done what you've done, and have gotten through it, because, somebody in that arena is better capable of giving you advice specifically for you, or counsel rather, opposed to advice. So I love what you do, and that's why I asked you to come on. And I'm
honored, man. I mean, I really respect and admire you. You've done such great work yourself, and you've surrounded yourself with incredible people. And yeah, I just want to shout out for you that the way that you're understanding this whole process, it comes from like the school of hard knocks, right? It's like we gain wisdom from our negative experiences, and what we're going through right now. Yep. No different from that. We're definitely going to get something good out of this.
Yeah, all day. I love it. And thank you for all the help you do in making the world a better place, Doctor.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
You have a great day. Bye for now. Bye. Everyone, you've been listening to the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show by Ronald Couming of RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs much like you achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. Please check out Steve's book. It's a great book. It's by Dr. Steve Taubman, and the book is down the bottom here, www.bestofsteve.com. You'll get a free chapter if you go that route. And if you go to Amazon in the next week or two, you should be able to get the Kindle version for 99 cents. I mean, it's priceless. If it helps you with one deal, if it helps you not get stressed out in for a couple of hours, I mean, 99 cents, really, check it out, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow when we're going to have Scott Sorrell.